Hi, it's Amy Solera. I am back again to give you an update as for what's going on with the Pittsburgh housing market, and here are 3 things that you should know. So I first want to start off by saying that over the past year, housing prices have increased by 18%, which is crazy and not sustainable because you figure that the average wage has not increased 18% over the past year. So this isn't sustainable, and there's no way that prices can continue to rise as rapidly as they have been. It's predicted that housing prices will start to level out. Yes, houses will continue to appreciate, but just at a slower pace than they have been over the past year. This graph shows 5 major entities and what their predictions are for appreciation through 2022. Around 4% is standard, so appreciation they're predicting is still going to be higher than normal, but definitely lower than where it has been. So what has attributed to the increase in the housing prices and the increase in appreciation? Well, that is interest rates. Now, mortgage rates have started to creep up. A few months ago, you could get an interest rate around 2.75%. Today, when I'm filming this video, they're slightly above 3%. Now, there won't be a huge, all of a sudden increase in interest rates, but they will slowly start to rise. And when interest rates rise, that's going to affect not only buyers, but also sellers, because as interest rates rise, people have less purchasing power, so they can't pay as much for a house. As interest rates rise, that's one way that we can keep housing prices from increasing as quickly as they have been. Here's a look at GDP, which is spending. So when the government looks at GDP, anything above 2% growth is awesome, but 4 to 6% is really roaring, and that starts to show up in inflation. Here's a graph showing inflation. So if inflation is more than 2%, then the government will start to get involved. The main tool that the government has to combat inflation is to control the cost of money. So they'll drive up the cost of money in order to slow everyone down. The Fed has let it go up a little in order to get the economy up and running, and then eventually they're going to rein it in. So after interest rates, the second thing that I would want you to know about the housing market is now how long it's taking for houses to sell. These graphs show what has been going on this year versus last year. Here's a look at what's been going on so far this year. You can see that during the summer months of May through July, houses were selling in about 10 days. But now, when I'm filming this video, we're currently selling at 21 days. Pretty much every year starting in August, the housing market tends to slow down. Now, granted, it's not as slow as when we get closer to the holiday months and when we're in the dead of winter, but come August, that's when families are wrapping up their final vacations for the year and starting to plan for going back to school. So the housing market does slow down every year during this time. The third thing about the housing market is how many houses are for sale. Here's a look at the number of houses that are on the market on a national level. A 6-month supply is a balanced market between buyers and sellers. More than 6 indicates a buyer's market, and less than 6 is a seller's market. So you can see that nationally, we're still in a seller's market. Here's a look at what's been going on locally in Pittsburgh. This is a look at this year compared to 2019. And I'm not even going to count last year just because that was an outlier. The number of houses on the market is increasing, but we're still in a seller's market. In Pittsburgh right now, we have less than 3 months of supply. So overall, because we're in the fall, we're moving towards winter, the housing market is slowing down and it's taking longer for houses to sell. That just always happens this time of year. Mortgage rates have started to increase slightly, but we're still historically low compared to previous years. So if you're a buyer in the market to buy, it's still a great time to do so. I know there are buyers out there who have been wanting to buy, but all summer they just felt like the market was too frantic and they just kept hearing about bidding wars and how much over asking people had to pay. So they were just very leery about entering into the market. If you are one of those people, or if you know any of them, I would say now is the time to kind of dip your toe in the water, because now, since the market is cooling down a little, houses are taking longer to sell, this is more of a time where you can ease into the process, and it's more like drinking from a water fountain instead of like a fire hose, which we had seen over the past summer. So even if you are not planning on buying until the spring, now is a good time to just start getting your pre-approval, getting your thoughts together, and just starting to see what's out there. If you're watching this video and you live in the Pittsburgh area and you're thinking about moving, give me a call. I'd love to help guide you through this process based on whatever situation is right for you.